Okay, this is EOC 1. This is EOC 1. Now, number 1 is a major issue for people. Can you all see? I'm really sorry, but my projector is bad. So I kind of put this light here so that you all can see as best you can. You guys good? Okay. All right. Number 1. I cannot tell you enough how important it is that you guys combine like terms first before you distribute. You guys are terrible at multiplying. Do you think you're better at multiplying or adding? You guys are better at adding than what you are multiplying. And because of that, you guys are really screwing up this problem. The very first question you have to ask yourself is, this parenthesis right here, first one, is anything being multiplied into it? No, so you can literally drop the parentheses there. Then keep the negative on the outside and then the bracket. Then inside the bracket, you are going to simplify that completely. Do you need the parentheses around the 6n squared minus 10n plus 4n? No, drop them. Do I need the parentheses around the negative 6n squared? No, it's just indicating it's negative. Drop them. Now, combine like terms inside the bracket before you distribute. I repeat, combine like terms inside the bracket before you distribute, which means all of this comes down, and then I combine like terms. That means those go away, and I just drop down everything else. Yes or no? Then distribute the negative into the bracket. So I'm going to drop down this junk because I'm not changing it. And I'm going to distribute plus 10n minus 4n minus 4n squared. And then simply combine like terms, crossing off as you go, so your brain doesn't have to look at them anymore. Do I have any other n squares? No. Cross it off. Do I have any more n squares? Yes. 6n squared minus 4n squared is going to be 2n squared. Cross it off. Do I have any more n to the first? Negative 10n and negative 4n is going to be negative 14n. Cross it off, and that only gives me the 10n left. Done. I guarantee this problem will be on the test. You have to make sure that you can do it. And every time, you guys have done this problem multiple times. You did it on worksheets, you did it on MathXL, you did it on the test, and now you're doing it on the end of course again. You have struggled with this problem. Okay? Any questions over what I just did up there? Okay, wonderful. Next. Number 2, solve the equation. Number 1 problem is y'all do not distribute the negative with the 2. So that's minus 4w minus 2 is equal to 8w minus 16 minus 2w. Next biggest mistake, you don't combine like terms on each side before you go from one side of the equation to the other. Combine like terms. 26 take away 2 is 24. 8w minus 2w is going to be 6w. Then you can go from side to side. Do we all understand that? Subtract, we're adding the 4w first, and then adding the 16. So that's going to give you a 40 is equal to a 10w, so w is equal to 4. Do we understand that, yes or no? Number 3. Mark and Heather Starr are celebrating their 25th anniversary by having a reception at a local reception hall. They have budgeted $5,000 for the reception. What does the word budget mean? Max. That means, can I spend $5,001? No, because I don't have one additional dollar to give. So I can spend $5,000 or less. So immediately, this is an inequality statement, less than or equal to 5,000. Does that make sense? The first amount that I am going to 100% shell out is going to be $90 for cleanup. So I have $90 going out immediately. And $38 per person. What's that going to be? 38x. So how do I solve this? I'm going to subtract 90 from both sides, and that's 4910. Divide by 38, and that's going to be 129.21. Can I have 0.21? Why? I'm going to invite 129 people plus 0.21 another person. How can I invite just 0.21 another person? It doesn't count the census. So therefore we can't. So what that means is I can only invite 129 people. Okay? Do we get that? I literally cross off the decimal and I'm rounding down. Okay? Do we get that? Yes or no? I promise you it'll be on the test. Promise you. Number 4 is very similar to it. 5 and 6 are exactly the same type of problem. I'm going to focus on 6 since I have more room to do it. Now, these are going to be on the board for you the entire time. If you look over here at the board, it's going to be the second column, the first row, absolute value. Step 1 says to isolate the absolute value bars. Are my absolute value bars isolated? No. Yes, they are. So then case number 2 says to do case 1 and case 2. So case 1 is x minus 2 is equal to 2x plus 1. And then case 2 is going to be negative parenthesis x minus 2 is equal to 2x plus 1. Doesn't matter which part, where you put the negative at as long as you distribute it. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract x and subtract 1. So that goes away. Negative 3 is equal to x. Come over here. Distribute the negative. I'm going to add x and subtract 1. So that cancels out. 1 is equal to 3x. So 1/3 is equal to x. Are we good so far? You are not done. If you put both of those answers here, then you have not checked for extraneous solutions. Extraneous solutions are solutions that algebraically work, but numerically do not. So what you have to do is you have to come over to your calculator. So I want a new document, I want a calculator page, and that is going to be the original problem that you are going to utilize. Absolute value bar is to the right of the 9, and x is negative 3 minus 2, arrow to the right, equals 2 times negative 3 plus 1. Hit enter. What does that tell you about negative 3? It's false. You're going to do it again, this time using 1 divided by 3. Equals 2 times 1 divided by 3 plus 1. And what does that say that is? True. So here's the thing. You guys may be absolutely perfect on this. Understand it, get this work, but you put both answers in, I automatically count it wrong. There is no partial credit in this test. Joanne, you paying attention? Yeah. Get uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. Right? Now, with that being said, you have to make sure that you're only putting in the correct answer and not the extraneous solution. Any questions over that problem? You good? Okay, you will have one like that on the test. Next, domain and range. Oh, I love this. It's a wonderful thing. Domain is what letter? Domain is x. This is x, and that's what you're going to put right there. Yes? Range is going to be your lovely little y. So range is right there, and that's going to be your y value. Do we understand that, yes or no? Make sense? Super easy problem. Do not miss that problem because you are too lazy to make sure that you pay attention. Yes? Okay, find the domain in the range of the relation and determine whether it is a function. Now, domain. Domain is x. And we read our x values from smallest x value to highest x value, which is what direction? Left to right. Now, as soon as you see that there are arrows on this parabola, those arrows mean that this thing goes on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever and just gets wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. Clear out there. Yes? never stops. So there is a really small x value that has a corresponding y value. There's a really large x value that has a corresponding y value. Meaning that x can be any number that it wants to be, and it's going to be the letter d, negative infinity. Do we understand that, yes or no? Range is on your y values, and how do we read y values? From your smallest y value at the bottom to your largest y value at the top. So with that being said, when do I first run into this graph at what y value? 3. At 3, and when do I stop running into it at? I never stop running into it, so therefore my y value is trapped between 3 and infinity, which means it's going to be less than or equal to those values, which is going to give me a. And this should have been just a less than symbol because you can never have, you have to have a parenthesis around infinities. Do we understand that? Okay, any questions so far? No. We good? Yeah. Is this relation a function? Yeah. Well, how do you know that? Does it pass the vertical line test? Yeah. Yep, so since it passes the vertical line test, yes, it is a function. Do we understand that problem, yes or no? Yeah. That's a great one. Okay, number 9. Not as concerned with number 9. Not as concerned with number 9. However, you can solve for y by saying y is equal to 1 over x. And when you graph this thing, when in doubt, graph it out, right? If I do control doc and add a graphs page, I'm going to have 1 divided by x and hit enter. Do we see that graph? That is the graph of it. Does it pass the vertical line test? Bam, 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 bam. It does. It does pass the vertical line test. Okay, so yes, it is a function. And then furthermore, what is the function? Well, tell me this. When you have a fraction, what number in the denominator can you not have? 0. Why? Because that is not defined. Which means x can be any number it wants to be, but x cannot be the value 0. So which one of these takes and says that it can be any number, but it can't be 0? Which one is that? A, B, C, or D? It's A. It can be any number, but it cannot be 0. Does that make sense, yes or no? Yes. Okay. Letters number 10 is exactly the same thing. It is still a fraction, right? That fraction has a denominator and it has an expression. That expression in the denominator can never be what value? 0. So that means 10 minus 3x cannot be 0. So 10 cannot be 3x. So 10 divided by 3 cannot be x. X can be anything at once, but if it is 10 thirds, that's going to create 0 in the denominator. And is that legal? No. So which one of those tells me it can be anything but 10 over 3? Letter C. Do we understand that? And yes, it is a function because it's going to look just like the other one. Do we understand that problem, yes or no? That's going to be one where you may have a problem. Okay? Any questions over that? Good luck. You'll do well. Okay, next, number 11. Determine whether y varies directly with x. You know what this is? This is direct variation, and direct variation is going to be your slope, which is the change of your y value over the change of your x value. So 6 over 12 is going to be 1/2. 19 over 38 is going to be 1/2. 20 over 40 is going to be 1/2. Now, since all of them are 1/2, what can you conclude? Yes, it is direct variation. And then it says, well, since it is direct variation, can you tell me what the constant of variation would be? In other words, what is the ratio between your x to your y? It is going to be half, which is going to be 1 over 2. And then it says, what is the function rule? In other words, if I wanted to come up with the next x and y value, how would I go about doing that? I would take my x value, let's say it's 60, and divide it by, or multiply it by half to get 30, so that would be 1/2 times x. Do we understand that, yes or no? Make sense? Number 12 is exactly the same concept. So whenever we take 6 and divide it by 2, that gives me 3. But when you take 15 and divide it by 6, that's going to give me 5 seconds. Is that direct variation? No. No, it is not. Number 13, how do I do this? I have to read this thing from left to right, don't I? So if I'm reading this thing from left to right, this is up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. Up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. This is going to be the third row, first column, you see it one up there. And that is just talking about A, H, and K. This is the cubic function x cubed. I'm going to be under a vertical stretch by a factor of 3. What does that mean I am doing? I'm sorry? I'm stretching by 3. So what does that mean I'm going to have? I'm going to have a 3 out front. Do we all understand that? So if I have a 3 out front, I'm going to have a 3x. But then it says a reflection over the x-axis. So what's that mean? So now it's going to be a negative 3. Well, guess what? Those are 1/3. That's a positive 3. That's a positive 3. That leaves me down to 2 options. Then I'm simply going to keep reading. A vertical translation 5 units up. Where's the 5 have to be? At the very end, which means it's going to be letter D and not A. Do we all understand that, yes or no? That should be an easy one for everybody to get. Okay, number 14. It says, describe the transformation of f of x that produced g of x. Now remember, we said if f of x is 4x, what did I do to 4x to now obtain the 4x divided by 7 and then the plus 9? So you have to remember what you did first and then what you did second. So what did I do first to go from 4x to 4x over 7? Why are you saying compressed? I know I'm multiplying by 1/7. 1/7 is a fraction, so therefore, since it's a fraction between 0 and 1, that is a compress. So I know that first I get a compression. There is a vertical compression by a factor of 9. No. There is a vertical translation up 1/7. No. There is a vertical translation up 9. Did I do that first? No. First, there is a vertical compression by a factor of 1/7. Yes. Then there is a vertical translation of 9 units. Yes. So therefore, it is letter D. Do we understand that? Yes or no? Take it one step at a time. Number 15. Identify the vertex, the axis of symmetry, the max or mean value, and the domain of the range. Love, love, love this problem. Up, down, left, right, stretch, compress, reflect. When you look at this thing, what's the negative doing? It's reflect over the x-axis. Then what? What's the minus 5 do? Right 5. What's the minus 21 do? Down 21. So now, what are the coordinates of my vertex? Right means positive 5. Down means negative 21. Determine the axis of the axis of symmetry. That is x equals h. So what is h in this problem? It is 5. Now, I want you to graph this in your head. If I'm at 5, negative 21, that puts me right here. Is it opening up or is it opening down? Well, y'all told me it's reflected over the x-axis. So that means it's opening down. So do I have a maximum or a minimum? I have a maximum value. And what y value am I at a maximum? Negative 21. Okay, well, let's keep going with that. What is the domain? How do I read domain? Left to right, there's double arrows, so that is going to be all real numbers. So if I want domain, now what do you think I want? How do I read range? When do I run into this graph at? Negative infinity, and where do I stop running into it at? At negative 21, and it can be negative 21, so which one of those describes that? Is it greater than or equal to, less greater than, less than, or less than or equal to, or all reals? It's going to be D, less than or equal to negative 21. Do we all understand that, yes or no? Beautiful problem. Beautiful problem. It'll be there, okay? Same exact type of problem. Not going to spend time on that because we're running out of time here. Number 17. Okay? Graph the equation. I want you to use logic skills. It is a different parent function, but up, down, left, right, stretch, compress still applies here. So instead of graphing this on our graphing calculators, let's think about this a minute. Absolute value is a V or a mountain or a valley, right? How do I know which one this is? By looking at your A value. Your A value is negative, so it's opening down. Well, this one opens up, and this one opens up. So it can't be A or D. So the 1/4, is that a stretch or a compress? It is a compress of 1/4. A compress, does it look like a travel mug or a cereal bowl? A cereal bowl is short and stocky, fat, right? It's wider. So which one of these is wider? It has to be letter B. Do we all understand why we chose those in the order that we did? How many of you completely freaked out and tried to grab a graphing calculator on these? Do you understand how to do this quicker now? Okay, now it says describe the transformation from parent graph. We already said we know what happened to it. So we reflected it, and then what else? So the only one that has the word compressed is going to be D. So it has to be D. Do we understand that? Yes or no? It is using logic skills. Taking a test is all logic skills. So same exact concept here. Up, down, left, right, stretch, compress. What's happening? It's negative, so it is reflected over the x-axis. So bam and bam, those are gone. Then stretch of 2. So is it travel mug or cereal bowl? It's travel mug, which means it's long and skinny. So it's not going to be C, it has to be D. Yes? Okay, then it says to find the x-intercepts. Well, how do I find an x-intercept? There's 2 ways. You can blow up the picture and literally visibly count and see where it's crossing the x-axis. Or you can say the x-axis is where it's crossing, which means my y values are 0. So that means 0 is equal to negative 2, absolute value of x plus 3 plus 6. If I solve this thing, that's minus 6. Divide by 2, that's 3. Case 1, x plus 3 is equal to 3. Case 2, x plus 3 is equal to negative 3. So x is equal to 0, and x is equal to negative 6. Those are your x-intercepts. Be careful, because it says type an ordered pair, so that's 0, 0, and put a comma, negative 6, 0. Many of you did not follow the instructions, and you did not put a comma between your 2 x-intercepts, and you got it wrong. And many of you did not put them as ordered pairs and got them wrong. You got to read. Type an ordered pair. Use a comma to separate answers as needed. You visibly can tell it crosses 2 places, so you have to have 2 ordered pairs with a comma between. Don't screw it up because of that. What's it mean to be the y-axis, the y-intercept? Or you simply plug in a 0. Negative 2, 0 plus 3. So that's negative 2 times the absolute value of 3. So that's negative 2 times 3. So that's going to be negative 6 plus 6, which is 0. So it's the point 0, 0. You can also clearly tell it goes through right here, 0, 0. Yes? Multiple ways to show that. Any questions over that? Okay. Next is going to be solving systems of inequalities. You had to take each of these and solve them for y. This is already solved. My slope is 2 over 1, up 2 to the right 1. My y-intercept is the point 0, 2. It is a solid line, and the shading will be below. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to graph the point 0, 2. There's 0, 2. It's going to go up 2 units and to the right 1. Do we see it? 0, 2, up 2 units to the right 1. Oh, that's dotted. Can't be that one. Up 2 units to the right 1. No. Still dotted. That won't work. So I narrowed it down to these 2. Yes? So now I need to come over here and do the other one. Negative 8x plus 4y is greater than 19. So that's 4y is greater than 8x plus 19. So y is greater than 2x plus 19 over 4. This is going to be a dotted line and the shading will be above it. Okay, now I would like you to look at letter A. This shading for the green, for the solid line, should have been below it. Do you see shading below that? So this can't be the option either, so it has to be no solution. I didn't even have to do the red technically, did I? No. Because I should have been able to, once I did the solid line, to be able to know that there was no solution then. Yes? Okay, that brings us to the last one, which is number 20. And number 20, I'm going to do the vertical line, which is at -4. It's great. It's perfectly straight. And then y equals -6. That puts me there. And the shading for them, y is greater than or equal to -4 is to the right, and y is greater than or equal to -6 is above. So it's going to be up here in this quadrant. Yes? Yeah. Now I have to do the other one. -2x minus y is greater than or equal to 2. So y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 2. Y is less than or equal to -2x minus 2. So that puts me here. Go up to the left, up to the left. It's a solid line, and there's that. And that is going to be shading down. So you are going to shade right in through here. That is EOC 1. Thanks. Tomorrow, I will go over EOC 2. What do you guys need to work on outside of class? EOC 1, 2, and 3 without view and example. If you don't have EOC 1, 2, and 3 with examples, then those need to be done ASAP to count for the current 9 weeks. Yes? Okay. All righty.